The third stage of labour is the time between when the baby's born and the placenta is delivered, and all labouring women have two options in terms of how they'd like that part of their labour managed. One option is to have what we call physiological management of the third stage, which is where you don't receive any drugs and you just wait for the uterus to deliver the placenta naturally. The alternative option, which is what we recommend for all women regardless of their risk factors in labour and in pregnancy, is to have active management of the third stage of labour. And that's a triad of intervention which involves clamping of the umbilical cord, delivery of the placenta by controlled cord traction, and also receiving a single dose of a uterotonic drug. So that's a drug that helps to contract the uterus and deliver the placenta, and by doing so reduces the risk of postpartum hemorrhage and also the risk of needing a blood transfusion after the baby's born. There are several drugs which can be used for that purpose. The one which is recommended by national and international guidelines is syntocinon, which is a synthetic form of oxytocin, that's the hormone that's naturally produced by the body to stimulate contractions and help deliver the placenta. When we first started working up towards this project, we conducted a national telephone survey of all maternity units in the country, and we found that more than 70% of units continue to use a drug called sintometrin, which has syntocinon in it, but also a drug called ergometrin, which makes it longer lasting. However, as well as making it longer lasting, it does mean that it comes with more side effects for the mother, including nausea and vomiting in the first couple of hours after the baby's born, as well as hypertension in the first couple of hours. The IMOX study stands for intramuscular oxytocics, and it's a multi-centre randomised control trial happening here in the southwest of England. And it's an NIHR portfolio adopted study aiming to investigate which is the most effective uterotonic drug for the third stage of labour after vaginal birth. The three drugs we're comparing are syntocinon, sintometrin, and a third drug called carbetocin, which is currently only licensed and used after caesarean section. It is much more expensive than the other two drugs, but we're trying to establish whether it's more effective in terms of reduction of postpartum hemorrhage as well as maternal side effects and overall cost.
So one of the things we're trying to do is work out what's the most effective drug, but also what's the most cost-effective management, taking into account not just the bleeding immediately post-birth or the management of the placenta, but also following these women up for 2 weeks to work out precisely who should get which drug and which women can we help the most with active management of the delivery of the placenta.
I think the thing that probably we're most proud about as a research department is that we're truly multi-professional. So we have midwives, doctors, healthcare assistants all being involved in the research, and that's not just those that are actually running the project, but also those taking part. We have doctors that are recruiting women and midwives that are randomising women into the study. Very important that they're well trained, but the project would not be the success it is without all of those clinical staff participating in it. I think there's perhaps a concept sometimes that research is rather elitist, and perhaps it is only sort of academics that can really run it and take part. And we're here to show that actually good clinical research should be done by the clinicians, who are actually the people that are going to benefit from the findings.
What's been great about the project is that we've managed to recruit a fantastic multi-professional team, and we've managed to do that in each of the hospitals around the clinical research network here in the West Country. There's been fantastic clinician engagement, and there's also been a huge amount of interest from women in the study, all of whom are very keen to have the question answered for them.
So we're finding that the majority of women we approach about participation in the study are very keen to be involved, and I think the reason for that is that women value their own birth experience, and that they realise that by partaking in research such as this they can help improve quality of care and safety for mothers in labour, and hopefully improve the birth experience of women in future.
I think it's exactly the sort of study where the chief investigator is here in the region. It involves all the units in the region, and we can really put the West Country on the map research-wise, and that would not have been possible at all without the CRN's support, the CRN's help, and their ongoing help and support as this study progresses.